All right, so welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. And today we're going to be stepping into a fictional world, a prison,
Okay.
holding a man named David Miller.
Interesting.
And, this isn't just another escape story, though.
Right.
The material that we have really dives deep into, like, what life is really like behind bars
Mm-hmm.
for someone who is innocent, actually,
Right.
and what lengths they might go to reclaim their freedom.
Yeah.
So we're going to be exploring David's daily life,
Okay.
his struggle to maintain hope,
Yeah.
and that spark that ignites when he connects with another inmate named Frank.
I see. Yeah. It's intriguing how the source material uses this kind of stripped down, almost like a journalistic style
Right.
to to put us right there in the cold, cramped cell with David.
Yeah.
You know, it really lets the oppressive atmosphere of the prison kind of seep into your bones, you know.
It definitely pulls you in.
Yeah.
Just picturing the bland food,
Right.
the constant threat of violence, and
Yeah.
that gnawing feeling of like wasted time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a recipe for despair, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
But then comes Frank.
Right.
He's more than just a friendly face in the crowd.
Yeah.
He becomes this unexpected source of resilience for David.
He does, yeah. And
Yeah.
their conversations, these little windows
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
their shared longing for freedom.
Yeah.
You know, a hint at a deeper dynamic.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, how do people even find the strength to keep going
Right.
in such a dehumanizing environment?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's like Frank's presence just jolts David out of this passive acceptance
Mhm.
of his situation.
Yeah.
Frank becomes a catalyst,
Right.
nudging him towards actually fighting for his freedom.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is the contrast between
Yeah.
David's initial despair
Right.
and Frank's persistent optimism. It really makes you think about the different ways that people cope
Right.
with trauma
Right.
and hardship, you know.
Frank almost embodies that, saying like, where there's life, there's hope,
He does, yeah.
doesn't he?
Yeah.
But this isn't just a feel-good story about friendship.
Right.
We can't forget the reason David's even in prison,
Mm,
a wrongful conviction.
exactly. Yeah.
The way that the source material kind of reveals this through flashbacks, it's really clever.
Yeah, those flashbacks are strategically placed throughout the story.
Yeah.
They're like these stark reminders of the flaws
Right.
that exist within the justice system.
Yeah.
It makes you think, like, how many other David Millers are out there
Right.
trapped by, like, faulty eyewitness testimony or,
Yeah.
or a lack of evidence?
It's a chilling thought.
Yeah.
And speaking of chilling, there's this definite turning point in the narrative
right.
where David decides, like, he can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Was it a single event?
Yeah.
Or like a gradual buildup of pressure
Yeah.
that pushed him to that breaking point?
It seems like a culmination of everything bearing down on him.
Right.
You know, the constant threats
Yeah.
from other inmates,
Mhm.
the crushing weight of knowing he's innocent,
Yeah.
and then that powerful reminder
Right.
of his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
Emma.
Yeah.
That's when you see this shift in David.
Yeah.
From resignation
Mm-hmm.
to this fierce determination to break free.
The mention of Emma is so powerful because it humanizes David
It does.
beyond just being an inmate, right?
Right.
It reminds us that he had a life and
Yeah.
family outside these walls,
Mhm.
and that's all been ripped away from him.
It certainly adds another layer
Yeah.
to his motivation, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just about his own freedom anymore.
Right.
It's about getting back to the people he loves.
Right.
And this is where the escape plan starts to take shape.
Yeah.
You know, their meticulous attention to detail, studying the guards' routines,
Yeah.
identifying that weak spot in the fence.
Right.
It speaks volumes about their desperation.
It's like they're channeling their fear and frustration into action.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you say their planning process also kind of reveals something about their characters?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
David's cautious, analytical nature comes through,
Yeah.
while Frank brings this street smarts and a willingness to take risks.
Right.
You know, their strengths complement each other,
Yeah.
forming a dynamic that's essential for pulling off such a daring escape.
They're like a classic prison break duo, you know?
They are, yeah.
Each bringing a unique skill set to the table.
Mhm.
And then comes that moment of triumph when
Okay.
they finally,
Break into the storage room.
get into that storage room.
What did you think when they discovered those tools?
Oh, I was on the edge of my seat,
Yeah.
wondering what they were going to find.
Weren't you? Absolutely, yeah. And the the deliberate way the source material reveals the specific tools, crowbars, screwdrivers, rope.
Right.
It's like it's designed to heighten the anticipation. You know, you can't help but wonder how they're going to use these seemingly ordinary objects to overcome these extraordinary obstacles.
It's a brilliant way to keep you hooked, right?
It is.
But just when you think, okay, they've got the tools, they're good to go.
Right.
The narrative pulls back, reminding us of the risks.
Oh, risks,
that still lie ahead.
Exactly,
That's like a reality check.
That's the brilliance of it, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't shy away from the uncertainty inherent in any escape attempt.
Yeah.
It leaves us pondering, will they actually pull this off?
Right.
What unforeseen challenges might they encounter?
Right.
And I think that's a good place to pause for.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah. We've gone from the crushing weight of David's wrongful conviction to the glimmer of hope that emerges with Frank's arrival, culminating in this daring plan to break free.
Yeah.
But their journey is far from over.
It is.
What's next for David and Frank?
Yeah.
How will they actually execute this escape plan? We'll delve into that in part 2 of our deep dive.
Looking forward to it.
We're back diving deeper into David Miller's desperate fight for freedom. And last time we left off with David and Frank having secured some crucial tools for their escape plan.
Yeah.
But as we all know, having the right equipment is just one piece of the puzzle.
It's just one piece. Yeah. It's like having all the ingredients for a cake, but still needing to navigate the oven, the timing, you know, all those potential pitfalls before you end up with something edible.
Exactly.
So let's talk about that weak spot.
Okay.
In the fence that Frank identified.
Right.
It seems that becomes their focal point.
Right. And remember, they've got the new guard's schedule figured out.
They do, yeah.
Which seems like it'll play a major role in their plan.
Yeah, it does.
But it makes you wonder, like, are they putting too much faith in a rookie's predictability? Yeah,
the source material really leans into that tension, you know?
Yeah.
The new guard's inexperience is their window of opportunity.
Right.
But it also makes him an unknown factor.
Right.
You know, he could be more by the book, more alert than they anticipate.
He could also be, like, more eager to prove himself.
Oh, yeah.
Which would make him even more dangerous to their plan.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we've got this constant push and pull between hope and uncertainty, which I think makes the narrative so gripping.
It does, yeah. So they've got the tools.
They've got the tools.
They've targeted the weak spot.
They've targeted the weak spot, yeah.
And they're keeping cows on the new guard.
Right. So what's the next move?
Yeah.
How do they actually start?
Putting
this escape into action?
Well, it seems that breaking into the storage room was just the first step.
Right.
You know, they need more than just crowbars and rope. They need a way to create a distraction.
Right.
Something to cover their movements.
Yeah.
While they're working on the fence.
Right. What do you think? What kind of distraction could they possibly create in such a tightly controlled environment?
Exactly. Yeah. You've got to be incredibly resourceful to pull something like that off within a heavily guarded prison.
And that's where their ingenuity shines.
And it is, yeah.
Remember that seemingly insignificant detail from part 1?
Okay.
Where Frank throws a rock towards the fence?
Right.
He was testing the distance.
He was, yeah.
Their plan involves creating a commotion on the opposite side of the yard.
Right.
Pulling the guard's attention away from
their target area. Yeah. Yeah. Classic diversion tactic.
Yeah. Classic diversion tactic.
While everyone's focused on the commotion, they're making their move in the other direction.
Right. But pulling that off in a prison.
Yeah.
That takes guts.
It does. Yeah. And it also takes trust.
Yeah.
Which is a scarce commodity.
Right.
In a place like this.
Yeah.
The source material hints that Frank had this knack for reading people, you know, knowing who to trust, understanding the complex web of favors and alliances within the prison walls.
Yeah, to enlist help from other inmates is a huge gamble.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, makes you wonder what Frank might have promised them or what kind of pressure he might have used to secure their cooperation.
Yeah, because loyalty can be pretty fickle in prison. But there's this sense that Frank isn't just manipulating people.
Yeah.
You know, he's appealing to their shared desire for something better. even if it's just a moment of chaos to disrupt the monotony of prison life.
So Frank's the strategist, the negotiator, the one working the system from the inside.
He is, yeah.
What about David? What's his role in all this?
David is more hands-on. Okay. You know, he's the mechanic, the one who can assess the fence, figure out the best way to use those tools they've acquired. It's like his skills from his old life have suddenly become relevant again.
Right.
But in this incredibly high-stakes situation.
It's interesting how the narrative weaves in those details about David's past.
Deep does.
Reminding us that he was a productive member of society.
Yeah.
Someone with skills. Yeah. And a life outside of prison.
It makes his wrongful conviction even more tragic.
It really does.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're working on the distraction. Right. They're meticulously planning their attack on the fence.
Yeah.
But it can't all be smooth sailing, can it?
It can't.
What kind of setbacks do they encounter?
What makes them question whether this escape is even possible?
Yeah.
Well, the source material mentions that the tools, while helpful, weren't exactly ideal for the job.
Right.
The crowbar's too bulky.
Okay.
The ropes are too thin.
Right.
They have to improvise.
Yeah.
Adapt on the fly.
Yeah.
Which takes time. Precious time. They probably don't have a lot of...
Man, I imagine the pressure is just immense.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Every minute must feel like an hour, knowing that at any moment in the
every moment
they could be discovered.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's this constant fear of discovery hanging over them.
Right.
Any wrong move, any unexpected noise could blow their entire operation. So it's not just the physical challenges they're facing. It's the mental and emotional strain as well.
It's gotta be.
Yeah. How do you think they're coping?
Yeah.
How would you hold up under that kind of pressure?
It's got to be a constant battle.
It's got to be.
Between hope and despair. Knowing that freedom is so close.
Right.
Yet so far out of reach.
Yeah. And that's where the narrative excels. It really takes us inside David's head.
Yeah.
We feel his anxieties, his wavering hope, his desperate yearning for freedom.
But what about Frank? How's he holding up under all this pressure?
That's a good question. You know, the sources are more focused on David's internal struggle.
Yeah.
But we do get glimpses of Frank's unwavering belief that they can pull this off.
Okay.
You know, he's the rock.
Yeah.
The steady presence that keeps David grounded.
It's fascinating how their personalities complement each other, isn't it?
It is.
You've got David, who's more emotionally vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then you have Frank, who's this pragmatic, almost stoic figure.
Yeah.
Their dynamic becomes even more critical.
It does, yes.
What's they face there?
Biggest challenge yet.
Yeah.
An unexpected change in the guard rotation.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good. What happened?
Yeah.
Did someone suspect something?
Well, not quite.
Okay.
But it's a major setback nonetheless.
Okay.
Did
their plan get exposed?
The prison officials decided to shake things up, you know, bringing back some of the more experienced guards to the night shift.
Okay.
This throws a wrench going into their carefully laid plans. Their one advantage is suddenly gone.
It is, yeah.
Talk about bad timing. So do they scrap the whole plan?
They consider it.
Okay.
But ultimately decide they can't afford to wait.
Okay.
They realize that the perfect opportunity might never come.
Right.
They have to adapt, you know, take a calculated risk and adjust their plan.
Right.
Based on the new circumstances.
It's a tough call.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah.
Would you take that gamble?
On the one hand, they've already invested so much time and effort.
Right.
But on the other hand, the stakes are incredibly high.
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what this whole escape attempt is about, you know, weighing the risks and rewards.
Yeah.
And making a choice, even when there are no guarantees.
Right.
And that's where we'll leave David and Frank for now.
Okay.
Facing this new challenge, forced to make a difficult decision.
Yeah.
Will they find a way to adapt their plan?
Right.
And ultimately, will their audacious attempt at freedom succeed?
Yeah, we'll find out in the final part.
We'll find out.
Of our deep dive.
In the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, so we're back for this final chapter of David Miller's story. And when we left off, their carefully crafted escape plan had hit a major snag.
It did.
With the prison bringing back those seasoned guards.
Yeah.
It's like suddenly playing chess on expert level instead of beginner.
Exactly. And this unexpected shift forces David and Frank to reevaluate everything. Remember, their initial plan hinged on the predictability of that new guard's routine. Now they're up against veterans who know the prison inside and out. Every creak and shadow.
It really raises the stakes, doesn't it?
It does.
Do they even try to move forward?
Does
the risks become too great?
The source material suggests they teeter on the brink of abandoning the whole thing. You know, the potential consequences of getting caught are just too heavy to bear.
I can only imagine the weight of that decision. You know, freedom dangling just out of reach. But the threat of even harsher punishment if they fail.
Exactly. What a dilemma.
And it's in this space of agonizing uncertainty that the narrative truly shines. We're right there with David as he grapples with the doubt, the fear, and the sheer magnitude of what they're attempting.
But we've seen glimpses of their resourcefulness, their determination. Surely they don't.
They give up completely.
You're right, they don't.
Okay.
Instead of surrendering to despair, they choose to adapt. To modify their plan, to find a way to make it work, despite the increased danger.
So how do they do it? How do they outsmart these experienced guards?
It feels like they need more than just a clever tactic.
Right.
They need a stroke of genius.
Well,
they realize that timing alone won't be enough. They need a bolder approach. Something to create a massive disruption. And that's where Frank's deep understanding of the prison's inner workings, his network of connections, becomes absolutely crucial.
So it's not just about David and Frank anymore. They're bringing others into the fold. Expanding the operation. But wouldn't that also multiply the risk of exposure?
It absolutely does. Of someone betraying them. It does, but they're at a point where they need to create multiple points of chaos to overwhelm the guards and buy themselves precious time.
So it's like they're orchestrating this symphony of distractions.
It is,
Each one.
Each
way. Playing a critical role in their escape.
Exactly.
What do these distractions look like?
The source material paints this vivid picture of carefully orchestrated pandemonium. A fight breaks out in one wing. A fire is started in another.
Wow.
It's all designed to stretch the guards thin, create confusion, exploit the cracks in their security.
It's incredible.
It is.
They're using the prison's inherent volatility against itself.
They are,
What a bold move.
What a bold move.
And while all this is happening, David and Frank are working against the clock, right?
Exactly. The tension ratchets up with every passing moment. They're using those basic tools from the storage room. The crowbar, the screwdriver, the rope to weaken the fence. To create their pathway to freedom.
It's almost poetic, isn't it?
It is,
The tools of their former lives now repurposed. For this desperate act of rebellion.
It is, What's the atmosphere like for them? During this final push?
I can only imagine.
The source material doesn't hold back. You can practically feel the adrenaline coursing through their veins. Every clang of metal, every snapped twig. Could mean discovery, the end of their hopes.
And they're completely reliant.
They are,
on the success of those distractions, right? If even one of those carefully planned events falters.
If even one falters, their escape could crumble. Absolutely. The whole plan rests on this intricate web of trust and coordination. It's a testament to Frank's leadership. To their shared determination. That they managed to pull it off.
So the distractions are working.
They're making progress on the fence. The tension is palpable.
It is.
Do they make it? Do they actually break free?
This is where the narrative takes a truly fascinating turn.
Okay.
Instead of giving us a clear-cut resolution.
Right.
leaves the outcome open to interpretation.
Wait, are you saying we don't actually know?
That's right.
If they succeed after all this buildup, all this struggle?
The source material ends with David and Frank scrambling over the fence, the sounds of chaos and shouting behind them. But it never explicitly states whether they reach freedom or are captured in the attempt.
What a cliffhanger.
What a cliffhanger.
So what's the point of leaving it so ambiguous?
Yeah, what are we,
the listener, supposed to take away from that?
I think it's a brilliant way to challenge us to confront the
complexities of choice and consequence.
Right.
David and Frank made a decision.
Yeah.
They took a risk.
Yeah.
But even with meticulous planning, there are some things you simply can't control.
It also invites us to kind of fill in the blanks ourselves, doesn't it?
It does.
To imagine what might have happened to them.
Yeah, in both
success and in failure.
Exactly. It makes us ponder the what ifs.
Yeah.
And consider the rippling consequences of their actions for themselves.
Yeah.
And for those they left behind.
So we've journeyed deep into this fictional prison.
We have
experienced the dehumanizing reality. Of David's wrongful conviction, the spark of hope that ignites with Frank's friendship, and the lengths they're willing to go to for a chance at freedom.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the ending remains a mystery.
And I think that's the most powerful aspect of this narrative. It reminds us that life is rarely black and white. That even with the best intentions and careful planning, there are some things that remain beyond our control.
That's a profound thought to end on.
It is.
What are your final takeaways from this deep dive?
Well, for me, it's a story about resilience.
Yeah.
The power of human connection in the darkest of places.
Yeah.
And the lengths we'll go to for freedom.
Right.
But it's also a story about the inherent uncertainties of life.
Yeah.
The fact that sometimes the journey itself is as important as the destination.
Right.
And that even when faced with impossible choices, we still have that capacity to hope.
Right.
To adapt, to fight for something better.
Beautifully put.
Thank you.
And to our listener out there, we leave you with this. What would you do in David's situation? Would you cling to the hope of freedom, knowing the potential cost?
Yeah.
It's a question worth pondering.
It is.
Long after the story ends.
Long after the story ends.